Hey YouTube, what's up? My name's Cody and I review anime conventions. Today I want to bring you guys a video on my tips and advice for your first anime convention. Also, if you've been to a couple, this may still help you out. If you've been to a lot of anime conventions and you're a con expert, I'd love it if you check the video out and leave a comment saying anything that I may have missed. Without further ado, let's get started. The first thing everyone is going to tell you when they're talking about tips for anime conventions is to find the convention that you want to go to. This is very obvious, but it can be kind of hard if you've never been to one. You don't know where to look or what to look for. I'm gonna leave in the description a website called animecons.com, I believe. You can check in the description for it. It's got every convention in North America, at least, I'm pretty sure, to my knowledge. If it's not all of them, it's most of them. And it'll have links to their websites, as well as where they are and when they take place. So go ahead and check that website out so you can find conventions that you want to go to. There's always at least one in every state, normally more than that. So go ahead and check that website out. Once you know what con you want to go to and it's getting about time to go, one of the things you're really going to want to do is make a list of things to bring. Especially if you've got a cosplay, you want to write down, make sure you bring every piece to your cosplay. But even if you don't have a cosplay, make sure you make a list anyway. You don't want to accidentally forget something that's vital. Now, one thing you should know is that you do not have to cosplay at a con, and you're not going to be looked at funny if you're not in a cosplay. There are tons of people who go to cons who are not in cosplay. They just go to have fun and check out other people's cosplay, so don't worry about it. You don't need one. When getting ready to go to a con, you really want to try and book the hotel room early. You may not know you have to do that if you've never been to one, but they fill up really quick, especially if it's a big con. Sometimes they'll fill up almost a year in advance, so you really need to look into getting that hotel room booked. Also, I would recommend staying at the hotel where the con's taking place. And you don't have to, I just personally find it convenient, because you can go straight to your room to the con in no time flat, and you've got somewhere where you can go back and just rest if you're getting really out of it. Along with getting your hotel room early, try and pre-register if you can. If you're not sure if you're going to be going or not and you can't pre-register, I guess it's not that big a deal, but pre-registering really helps. First of all, normally if you pre-register, it'll be cheaper, especially if you do it soon enough in advance. And then also, pre-registering for a con will eliminate having to stand in the giant registration line. You'll still have to stand in the pre-reg line, but normally it goes much faster and it's not as long to begin with. Still, before you even go to your con, you want to go to the grocery store and bring food. Buy a ton of food. Check on your hotel's website or call them, see if they have a fridge or a microwave so that you know what type of food to bring. If they don't, I recommend finding a cooler, getting some ice in it. Normally every hotel has a place where you can get ice and, fill it back up. It's very important to bring food to a con. You wouldn't believe it, because most of the time when you're at a convention, you're going to be starving the entire weekend. I know that doesn't sound very fun, but you don't even really think about it until that blistering headache starts because you haven't eaten all weekend. Sometimes they will have food courts or restaurants close to the hotel, so also make sure you have money. If you're not planning to bring food, just try and have money so that you can go and get something, because you don't want to starve. Along with bringing food, try and bring water. I recommend just buying one of the huge packs of bottled water that grocery stores sell. They're not that expensive, especially if you get the generic brand. And then you've got plenty of water right there for the entire weekend. They do normally have water fountains at cons sometimes, so if you want to just bring a water bottle, you might be alright. But I think the best way to go is to just buy your own water and bring it, because you don't want to be dehydrated. It's going to cause a lot of problems. Now, you may have already started to notice that cons are pretty expensive, and we haven't even gotten there yet. Along with just buying things to get to the con or buying your hotel room, you're going to have to possibly pay for parking. It depends on the con and where it's at. Along with buying things there, try and have a budget. Write down how much you want to spend. Only bring so much money and stick to that, or else you're going to end up blowing it all, because cons can be unbelievably expensive if you don't watch what you're spending. This next thing just seems like common sense, but for some reason, for people at conventions, it's not. So I'm just going to tell you straight up. Shower and bring deodorant. Shower every single day, at least once. You can make time to shower. You're not going to miss things. And just be warned, for people who do shower, there are tons of people at conventions who don't. So be ready to smell some stinky people, because for some reason, people are so excited about the con that they just don't want to shower or wear deodorant. and it's disgusting. One thing to do at a con, either before you leave or after you get their book, because sometimes it'll say it in the book, is to check out the con rules. All cons are different, and you want to make sure that you're following the rules. Some cons are gonna want you to like cover up a lot more than others because they want it to be PG or PG-13. Other cons aren't gonna care. You could walk around almost butt naked and it doesn't matter. It just depends on the con, and you really want to make sure you know the rules to the con so you avoid conflict with staff members. If you're cosplaying at a convention, be ready for people to ask you to take a picture of you because you're cosplaying one of their favorite characters. They want a picture of you. There are people who go to cons solely to walk around and get pictures of cosplayers. You just need to be ready for it. Also, if you're not cosplaying, or even if you are and you see somebody else cosplaying someone that you like and want to get a picture of, do not be afraid to go up and ask them. The majority of cosplayers are expecting that they're going to be asked to get pictures taken of them, so it's not a big deal. Just go right up, try and be nice, and ask them for a picture. Now, if you can, try and go with lots of friends or lots of other people to a con. I know some people don't have friends who are into anime and things like that, but if you do, try and bring them with you to the con because it's gonna make the hotel cheaper because you can split the cost, and hotels are pretty expensive, especially if you're going to a lot of cons. But also, don't try and like shove tons of people into a room. It can get really annoying. You just kind of gotta find a good medium. Find out which size room you're getting and then just sort of go from there. Also, it's good to bring other people because you have someone to hang out with and someone to talk to at the con, and it's 100 times more fun to have a friend there with you than to just be there alone. But if you do go alone, try and be social, try and make friends there. There are tons of people who make friends at cons. Just go out there and make some friends. This is something you should do either way, but especially if you're not staying at the hotel where the con takes place, bring some sort of bag to carry things around with you in, because I mean, you're gonna buy things, you're gonna have things on you like your phone and your wallet, and you just don't want to have it all in your hands. It's gonna get really annoying, especially, I mean, it's a 3-day event. Bring something to carry stuff around with you. Now, a lot of people I know when they're going to their first con have told me that they're worried about the people there and that a lot of them are gonna be really weird or really rude, but you don't need to worry about it. Basically, there are a few weird people, but that's everywhere you go, and there's some rude people, but that's everywhere you go. But the majority of people at cons are just like you and me. They're just nice, everyday people. If you've got a cosplay, but you know, it's not the best ever, but you're still really excited about it, don't worry. Nobody's gonna hate on you for your cosplay. They just like that you tried and that, I mean, you're making an effort. It's really cool. And so just basically what I'm trying to say here is people at cons are generally nice, so you don't have to worry too much about weird or rude people when you go to a con. Now, if you do find some weird or rude people, don't say anything. Just try and mind your own business, because a big problem with conventions nowadays is con drama. I don't really run into it that much myself because, like I said, I just sort of mind my own business, but there are plenty of people who cause drama and can be rude to other people, and if that happens, just ignore it. And please don't be rude to other people. Just keep the drama to a minimum. Try and keep it from happening. It just annoys everybody and it ruins people's weekends. Once you're at a con, there's a lot of really fun things to do. One thing I would really recommend is checking out the voice actors. Even if you watch all subbed anime and you don't watch any dubs, I would still check the voice actors out just because they are really, really funny people and they're gonna be talking about anime, which is something you like. So go check them out. Also, when you are talking to a voice actor, just try and be nice on the questions you ask. Try not to ask the same question over and over again, but understand that they do get these questions asked a lot. So if they seem a little impatient with a question, such as like, how do I get into the voice acting industry, which is one of the most commonly asked questions, try and be nice about it. They're trying their best. Yeah, voice actors are really fun. Go check them out. Now, when you go and see a voice actor, you're seeing them in what's called a panel. Cons are just made up of panels. All it is walking around in the hallways and in lobby areas and going to panels. Panels are basically events that are held by either the staff themselves or some by fans. So there's gonna be a lot of them. You might be a little overwhelmed at first when you're looking at your pamphlet trying to decide what you want to go to. I recommend just circling the ones that you want to go to or writing them down and going and checking them out. If you end up not liking them or they're not what you thought they were, it's not a big deal. You can just leave. Nobody's gonna be mad at you for getting up and leaving. So just go check the panels out. They're a lot of fun. Don't skip the panels and just hang out in the hallways all weekend. Yeah, that can be fun, but you're gonna miss out if you don't go to some panels. panels. If you're going to a panel that you know is going to be popular, or you really want to go to it and not miss it, go line up early, especially if it's a big con, because panel lines can get really, really long, and at some cons, if there's enough people, the room will fill up and they'll close it, and they won't let anybody else in, and then you're pretty much screwed because you didn't want to come and get in line early. So I definitely recommend going and lining up early for your panels. Almost every single con has a masquerade or cosplay contest type event where basically people just show off their cosplay, and sometimes they have skits involving their cosplays where they play the character. This is normally the most popular event of the weekend, and I really recommend going to it, especially if it's your first con. Try and go to at least one in your con lifetime because they're really cool. But like I said before, this is the event that is going to fill up quick, and they're going to stop letting people in, so you need to get in line possibly hours early. I know that sucks, you want to go doing other things, but it's going to be worth it. It's a really good panel. At anime conventions, there's a thing called a dealer's room and another thing called Artist Alley, which is where things are sold. Dealer's room is basically official merchandise. Artist Alley is things that people make themselves and bring to sell. Dealer's rooms can be really big and really nice, so just be ready when you walk into your first dealer's room. They're going to be selling a lot of stuff, and you're probably going to want all of it. This is where that budget I mentioned earlier comes in. Just be careful when you're in the dealer's room. You could spend all your money your first time in there. My recommendation is walk around the dealer's room one time first, just checking stuff out, and then sort of decide what you want to buy from there. I don't buy any of my big expensive stuff on the first day. I at least wait till the second day so that I know that there's nothing else that I want to spend the money on, and then I'll go back and grab that item. So just try not to impulse buy, because you can impulse buy every single thing in the dealer's room. Make sure you're getting what you want. If you've never been to an anime convention, this is something that you might not know of or even expect. My first anime convention, I had no idea they did this, and now it's one of my favorite parts of anime conventions, the rave. Almost every anime convention has at least one rave, sometimes more than one. It depends on the con, you'll just have to check your guidebook to find out. They're basically just electric dances. Just if you think of a rave, that's what it is. And it takes place at night, normally in the main events room. They clear it all out and just have a huge dance floor. They have DJs, crazy music, lights. It's all really awesome. Now, you don't have to worry about these raves. There's no drugs, no violence, no anything. It's just fellow anime fans hanging out, dancing. There's breakdance circles. You can do whatever you want. When you're going into a rave, make sure the only thing you bring with you is your rave attire. Some people dress up differently for raves. And your badge. You're gonna need your badge to get in. Don't bring anything else, it's just gonna get in the way. Don't even bring water. I know that sounds crazy, but you don't need to worry about it. They have water in the room that's free, and they'll supply to you so that you don't get dehydrated. I would recommend checking out a rave at least once. I mean, you may not be like me, you may end up not liking raves, but I would recommend at least checking it out once to find out, because they can be a lot of fun. Another thing to think about is that some panels do have age restrictions, depending on the type of content that's going to be displayed in the panel. So basically the best way to avoid this is to just make sure you got your ID on you at all times. If you're over 18, if you know you're old enough to get into every panel, just have your ID on you to make sure that you can get in. If you're not old enough to get into the panels, don't try and fight them, guys. They're not gonna let you in. It doesn't matter if you're with somebody who's the right age. It just doesn't matter. They're not gonna let you in. You don't meet the age requirement. You can find something else to do. I'm sorry, but that's just how it is. Something else that's really fun to do at a con is to check out the game room. There's actually more than one game room normally. I didn't know that they had game rooms at my first con, and I completely missed it. So that's why I'm telling you guys now. Look around, try and find the game rooms, whether you like tabletop gaming, because normally they're going to have a tabletop gaming room where some people spend their entire con there. And then they also have video game gaming rooms where, depending on the con, they'll have different consoles set up with different games that you can play, as well as possibly arcade games. And also, depending on the con, the arcade games may cost, or they may be able to be played for free. It just depends on the con. This is also where a little bit of con etiquette comes in. You don't want to stay on a game all day. There's always that person who's on like DDR or something all day, or the entire con, and they never get off and give someone else a chance. Be polite, guys. Other people want to play these games. You can go to another game for a minute and then come back. I know this is your favorite game, but be nice. Come on, there's other people at this con other than you. This next thing normally just comes in if it's a medium to large con. Smaller cons, they may have this issue, but it's not going to be as bad. Basically, it's elevators. Elevators are going to be a much bigger issue than you realize. They fill up fast. You're going to be standing at an elevator spot, waiting for an elevator, possibly for a long time, because everyone that opens is full. So my recommendation, my tip on this is to find where the stairs are and hope that you're not on the top floor, because you're going to be using those stairs a lot more than you might want to. You're not going to have an issue with elevators when you first get there, you know, trying to get your stuff up there. I highly doubt it's going to be really packed. That's another thing, get there early so it's not super packed and you don't miss much. But if you do get there later, I'm sorry, you might have to take your stuff up the stairs. It just happens. They get very, very full very fast. Also, if you're in an elevator, don't mess around in them. I've been to cons where people were jumping in elevators and broke them, and then we had less elevators, and that's a real issue. So don't do that. If you get in an elevator, just stay in the elevator, go to your floor, and then mess around and do the things you want to do. Don't do it in the elevator. Be respectful to other people. Be respectful to everyone. Use common sense. Treat people how you want to be treated. You have to realize that cosplayers are just that. They're cosplayers. They're people. They're like you and I. They're not the characters from the show. So don't run up to them freaking out saying, "Oh my god, I loved you in this show." You're gonna freak them out a little bit. They're just people. Just enjoy the costumes, take pictures if you want, but relax. They are just people. Same goes for voice actors. People go and meet voice actors and they freak out so bad. I understand if it's your first time, maybe you'll be a little starstruck, but you have to realize these people are just people, and don't freak them out at cons. They're just trying to have a good time as well. Also, don't glomp people. I don't know if you know what glomping is. If you don't, basically it's a giant tackle hug. And some people do it to cosplayers because they really like their cosplay. But don't do that to people, because cosplays are fragile and a lot of times very expensive to make. And if you glomp somebody, you could break their cosplay and then they're gonna be ticked. Just don't do it. Avoid it. Now, when you're getting a picture taken or you're taking somebody else's picture, try and move out of the way. Don't stand in the middle of a hallway, or, I mean, sometimes it can be hard. It can be hard. There's a lot of people. But try and get out of people's way. So you don't want to block the hallway. Also, if you see people taking pictures, try and be nice. The picture's only going to take a couple seconds. You can stand there and wait for them to finish or go around. Just be respectful. The last thing I've got for you guys is to try and be respectful to the staff. I'm not gonna lie, I've had problems with staff before. I know other people who have had problems with staff, and staff can be a lot of con drama just because they can get on your nerves, but try and be respectful. Simply because they volunteered to do this. They don't have to be there, and they're trying to make the con better. They're trying to make everything run smoothly, and it can be a lot of work. They've got a lot on their plate. So try and be nice to them. Try and listen to the things they tell you to do, even if you don't like it. Just respect the job that they're doing, because all they're doing is trying to make you have a good time this weekend. That's everything I've got for you guys. I tried to think of everything I could possibly think of to try and make this almost like the definitive tips and advice list for a con. If you liked it and you agreed, throw it a like, send it to your friends who are going to a con who you think should hear some of this stuff. If you didn't like it or you thought that I missed some things, just go ahead and throw it in the comments so that other people can see it. I mean, I'm sure I missed some stuff. I tried to think of everything I could, but there's a lot of stuff going on at cons. You have to understand that cons are really busy. There's going to be a ton of people, thousands possibly, depending on the size of the con, just walking around trying to do their own thing. Pretty much, you're going to have a great time. Cons are probably going to end up being the best weekends of your entire life. So just try and be nice, try and follow basic rules, and enjoy it.